got good sound.
All right.
But we have good content tonight, although some of it's kind of dry. Hi, James. Hey, Mike. Welcome back.
Hey.
It's good to see you, brother. Who's out there in the lights? Stripe and Dave Davis. Dave must be running camera because I know Stripe's not. I'm going to monitor sound. And tonight's show is 213. I need a pencil, and let's do this. Ready? Let's have some fun tonight, gentlemen.
So did you get your pad of paper and everything over there?
A lot of good stuff here to talk about, including, look at that stuff that Mike's got and James has got. Wow, this is not going to be boring tonight. All right, Dave Davis, give us a countdown. Gentlemen, pay attention. Ready, set, countdown.
3, 2, 1, go.
The What's Neat This Week video podcast is supported by enthusiastic model railroaders just like you.
These are anyway.
And by GL Robotics, with over 61 colors of 3D printing filaments in stock, your gateway to new technology. Check out their website at glroboticsusa.com. Further support is provided by K&R Models. We dare to build. Check out their website at knrmodels.net. Additional support is provided by Spring Creek Model Trains, your destination for model trains. Stop in and say, wow. Check out their website at springcreekmodeltrains.com. And by Intermountain Railway Company, where the detail makes the difference. Check out their website at intermountain-railway.com. Further support is provided by Microengineering, keeping you on track with quality products for 55 years. Check out their website at www.microengineering.com. Order from your local dealer or order direct by calling 1-800-462-6975. Additional support is provided by Yelsma Graphics, America's leading distributor of quality railroad art and embroidered clothing since 1985. Check out their website at yelsma.com. Further support is provided by the NCE Corporation, the power of DCC. Visit their website at ncedcc.com. And thank you for supporting the What's Neat This Week podcast. This is the What's Neat This Week video podcast. What's Neat in Model Railroading. Show number 213 for October 22nd, 2022. Tonight we've got a lot of interesting stuff to talk about. And I've got to tell you what, it's been a very busy week with a lot of different photo shoots. I can't wait to go through all of it with you guys. First of all, let's start out with... My name is Ken Patterson, the host of the What's Neat show at Model Railroad Hobbyist Magazine, and that video is done. I got the November video done. It's an hour and 20 minutes long. In that video, we build Lightner Trestle. Lightner Trestle is a bridge on the Rio Grande Southern Railroad at milepost 159. It's otherwise known as Bridge 160A, and this is the most detailed model of that bridge, I promise you, that has ever been built. I used thousands of dollars worth of research material that I had purchased in order to get the drawings, the sizes, the photographs of everything. Plus, I put that highway through that bridge back in the early 50s, which makes this a very compelling model in that it's interesting. You've got a highway going through the steel structure, and you've still got all the wood cribbing all the way across through all the trestle bents. In that video, we build the base. We build all the bents. I mean, this is start to finish. This is Scenery 101 on how to build a diorama that's accurate, a contest winner for real. And that's what you get in the November What's Neat that's just coming out. So sitting off to our side where Mike Buddy always sits, we've got Mike Buddy.
Hey, everybody.
I like. Sitting all the way on the other side of me, I've got James Regier.
Hi.
Hey, James. And we've got Dave Davis running camera for us tonight. Dave is very high as I see him on the crane. Very good job, Dave. First of all, we're going to talk about something very interesting, which we've never discussed before. And that's the Mississippi River, as I always show it in the backyard during various photo shoots through all the years that we've been doing this podcast since 2017. But now the river is almost at an all-time low. I think they've told me that the places north of Cairo are actually down to the 2013 record when it was a very dry September and October. It's gotten to the point where it's starting to make the news on CNN and NBC, and all the stations are starting to talk about the fact that a lot of barge traffic now is starting to get held up. And this is not a good time of the year for that to happen because this is a grain season. But they're trying to divert a lot of the barge traffic onto the railroads and trucks, which good luck with that because barge traffic is 60% of the grain shipments out of the United States of America. I'm going to show you some footage here. I took my daughter Anna downtown so she could see the riverfront, and I expected to shoot the river right away, but I caught this beautiful shot of Amtrak crossing the MacArthur Bridge. And in this photograph, or in this video that I'm playing for you right now, you see the beautiful Siemens Charger locomotive from Bachmann Industries, actually from Siemens. This is a real train. This is not TCS sound, this is prototype sound, but it sounds like TCS, so rock and roll, guys. But the fact is, what a beautiful consist to see going across the MacArthur Bridge. And you guys told me that these passenger cars right behind the AM coach, what are those?
They're the brand new Siemens
cars,
coaches.
yeah.
Is that right?
They're replacing the old Bud. Well, now name is slipping me, but the old Bud coaches,
right?
And
those Siemens cars seem like commuter train cars, though. They're so sparse.
They're short.
They are. They're a little bit more Spartan on the inside,
right.
and I think that's because they're built more off of a German European design, where all of the trains are really short distance, like
right.
the trip between Chicago and St. Louis would be a long distance train there. So.
Right. The Superliners were a lot better coming back.
Yeah.
I mean, those were really
beautiful.
Very nice.
Oh, yeah.
Now let me take you to the riverfront of downtown St. Louis as I share with you. As you see my truck, I'm parked all the way on the edge here as far as I can go, and there's the arch in the background, but the cobblestone is ending, and now there's logs and riprap. You never see that downtown. This is the area, when you go through all the history books, you see about 50 steamboats lined up, nose to the bank, unloading cargo on the 240 locomotives with their cars, as they used to do in the late 1880s, 1890s, and so forth. This was the reason why St. Louis is a river town that it is, because of the steamboats. And there's nothing there. This is dry. I've got various clips I'm going to run for you showing you how dry it is downtown. And then I'm going to show you a clip here from the property. As you guys go back through the shows, you've seen flood stages here as I've done photo shoots in the backyard before with models. But look at this. It's nothing but sandbars. It looks like the beach. I don't have to go to Florida. I just have to go down the cliff, and I've got my very own beach, and there's been a lot of people doing it. So much so that over the weekend, this weekend, there was traffic on the Illinois side where there was actually tourists wanting to come see the river at its all-time low. It's an amazing sight to see, and it's also relatively scary in the fact you got to figure that's where we get our water supply from for drinking water, showers, all that kind of stuff. Plus, again, negativity with regards to cargo shipments, towboats getting hung up on the sand. Army Corps of Engineers running their dredge. That dredge is over 96 years old, and they're still running it around the clock to deepen the channel and keep things going from Cairo north, where that one dredge is staged that I've shown you so many times previously on the show. It's a very interesting phenomenon that we are witnessing, and the weather predictions aren't that great. They're saying maybe January it might be able to come back up somewhat, but right now the flood stage downtown is a negative 2.5 feet, which I also find interesting. The flood of 93, we were at 49.5 feet, about 6 inches over flood stage, where the flood walls and everything would have toppled over to downtown. How things have changed. But I thought it would be interesting to share with you all this material that I just showed you, kind of interesting clips, and something I want to talk about tonight. Got a lot of other neat stuff to talk about, but first I'm going to go over to Mike Buddy, because Mike's got a lot of new models to share tonight.
Yeah, first of all, I wanted to show you these old Penn Central employee magazines, Penn Central Post. A guy, a fan of our show, Mike Ensley from Conneaut, Ohio, I think that's how it's pronounced, way up in the northeastern corner by Erie, Pennsylvania. He sent me a whole package of these employee magazines, and they're really cool. I mean, there's a bunch of employee-related stuff, but a lot of interesting stuff about the prototype, about the new logo and everything. And of course, the one I zeroed in on was the one with the auto racks in it, and it's interesting. In 1972, there was already huge problems with damage from theft, vandalism and theft en route, and so they were talking back then about what they could do to add side protection to those auto racks. But anyway, a couple other things that were in this envelope are old Penn Central timetables, and they went all the way to St. Louis, East St. Louis, Illinois, and we saw a lot of Penn Central stuff back in the day. And to me, that jade green, that color, it looks so modern and new. So anyway. Thanks to Mike Ensley for sending me that stuff. And then here's some new vehicles from PCX 87. I think they're affiliated with Burkina. The quality on them is certainly Burkina-like. I mean, the pad printing and all the lettering.
What are they?
Lincoln, 1977 Lincoln Mark Vs.
Nice.
Okay, yes.
And both different wheel options.
Yeah, 2 different wheel options, and 4 colors are offered right now. And so I got these from Bob Johnson at Masterbuilt Models. He's always good about sending me stuff. These have been out for a while, but I haven't been on for a while. I've been doing other stuff, and so. And then another friend of mine, friend of the show too, Barry Benoit from Massachusetts. He's the guy that's getting me into 3D printing. He's convincing me that I can make these cars in my own house. So he sent me a couple of truck cabs. This is an Australian Mac. I don't know what those big snorkels are for.
I would guess that because they do a
Dust.
lot more off-road trucking and that sort of thing in Australia, that's probably
Air
snorkels
intake.
for dust,
Right.
for dust, or if they ever
That's
have to
kinda what
ford
I
any
thought.
rivers.
Yeah.
That the air
Exactly.
intake is all through those snorkels because
Yeah.
motors don't like breathing water much. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
don't like that.
So, and then this is a Kenworth W990. That's the newer version of the Kenworth truck that Athearn started making models of back in the early 60s. But I think this cab has basically been around since 1961, and they've just made different upgrades and improvements on it, safety and comfort and everything. And so this is the most modern version that they've made since 2018. So Barry's got a whole bunch of trucks. I see him selling them on Facebook, and the models are really nice. The tires.
These
Dave
have the
was
brake
checking
pads.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Underneath, he's got the brake pods for the suspension and everything. The drive shaft, the axles are pretty detailed, and the wheels are really nicely done too. See-through holes and stuff.
Yes.
So anyway, hats
And
off
tread-
to
and
Barry.
the tire tread design too.
Yeah, those tires look really nice.
Well, it's amazing just all the models that you can find on Colts 3D. You type in just about any model year number
Right.
of any car, and chances are someone will have done a 3D scan either of that car or of a plastic model that someone has previously made of that car
Right.
and made it available.
Yeah.
And then you just simply print it off and
yeah, he's working on some cars
ready to
for
go,
me.
yeah.
I gave him a list about a dozen different vehicles, and
Now, what's that tower of stuff right there?
this here is a 1980, 82 maybe GMC truck, and it's just a tiny bit too small. So he's going to reprint this in with the measurements that we got, but the detail on these new printers is, I mean, there's hardly any stratification at all, unless you look at it really close. And by
Yeah.
the time you paint it, those lines will pretty much fill in, I would think.
Yeah, well, you can see GMC on the.
On the grill, yeah.
Yeah.
If I quit moving it around, maybe you could zoom in on it.
Yeah, no,
but-
it's
actually on the tailgate.
Yeah, right. The GMC and the tail lights and everything, and that silver panel they have, and so it's this 3D printing,
Camper
man.
window in the back.
Yeah.
yeah, if you want to, I'll just say here that if you want to get models like that, you may have to buy the mesh online, but if you have a 3D printer like the ones that GNL Robotics sells,
Right.
then you're in business that you can make a whole fleet of unique cars for your layout that,
Right.
Brecchino or the other ones simply don't make
Right.
because they wouldn't necessarily sell the volume.
Yeah.
But there's a surprising number that have been scanned.
Yeah. I was amazed at how much. I still haven't been able to find a 1978 Corvette, though. If anybody knows of an HO or a file, of a 3D file. There are all kinds of Corvettes, but not a 78.
Not a 78 Corvette
Yeah.
STL.
Right.
Okay.
I can't find one anyway.
I've even found a 78 Celica. Now,
Yeah?
I've been tempted to get that one. I used to have the hatchback model of that.
You
And,
had one too, didn't you, Ken?
Did.
Yeah.
I
Now
did.
you had a 1981, in fact, or was it 81?
And I had a Supra too, and
Yeah.
I loved them both.
And the Supra, yeah.
Oh,
Those are available.
Yeah.
So you can get the 3D model of the Supra and print that off.
Yeah, I
and,
want to get some more foreign
park
cars.
it next to your model truck or your monster truck that you can get any car that you've had in your lifetime probably.
and there's the car I had in high school.
Yeah, that Ford Granada.
1977 Ford Granada
Yeah.
with a vinyl red top halfway on the back. And of course, you can't see my raccoon skin in the back and my big CB antenna.
Oh, yeah, we all had
Breaker
those
19,
back.
where
Yeah.
are we hanging out at tonight? But this is
Yeah.
a car I
Yeah.
drove, and yeah, that was fun. It looked good with those Firestone white letter tires on
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, high school, how fun that was.
I've been looking for a 74 Pontiac Luxury Le Mans because that's what my mom had
Yeah.
when I was little. And I barely remember what we traded it for, a Nissan van, when I was about 7 or so. But
Yeah.
I still remember that car. It was maroon.
Yeah?
Yeah.
74. Is that the downsized version, like with the Colonnade first year? 73 was like the Colonnade style, 73 and 74.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it was a coupe. So
Okay.
it was. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it was a neat little car, and I underappreciated it at the time. We also had that 78 Celica. The 78 Celica had a louder motor noise
Yeah.
than the Pontiac did, and I kind of liked that louder noise. Of course, it also had air conditioning, and the Pontiac did not. Which
Yeah.
in Kansas summers,
Right. That makes a big difference.
There you go. I'm switching around microphones here. I thought I had number 2 on. I've got number 7 on. How confusing. It was all laid out earlier. I don't know how it got so difficult. Anyway, long story short, we've got a lot of amazing models on the table, and I'm going to start with a couple that I've got that I photographed this week outside. These are the K&R models. KR models, not K&R. Let me get that right. krmodels.net is a website. First model that we shared that I've got that I photographed outside this week is this 2-truck Shay. I shot it outdoors. I shot some video of the setup, like I always like to share. The layering of the scenery from the foreground to the pine trees to the mountains on tripods backed in the back. With a great strong wind blowing, I had to put 30-pound weights on those mountains in order for things to not blow around. But this Shay looked absolutely amazing in real outdoor sunlight and a lot of reflection as I'm getting now to the later in fall sun, which isn't as good as it is in June. It's a lot lower, so I've got to do a lot of reflection of light to get the side detail to show up. But I shot this on both sides, as you see in these photographs, and this Shay absolutely stands on its own right. I also shot the log car that KR Models makes from on top. It shows the logs next to the car and all the bolt details on this car. It's absolutely a beautiful spline car for hauling logs behind the Shay.
Well, I was watching the Shay roll back and forth on the layout just a little bit ago, and that linkage,
Pretty wild.
looks pretty impressive.
Yeah.
How everything's rotating, the pistons are moving just right. Like it's
amazing.
It's pretty amazing how they engineered that so it all works and looks right.
It's a sweet model. So without further ado, I do want to share video of this running with sound. So what I'll probably do is I'll split the video podcast, do an edit right here, drop in the clip of this Shay running. I want you to hear the whistle. When you hit the whistle short, it gives you a quick whistle. When you lay on the whistle, it gives you a full play
Full tone, yeah.
of the tone, almost like you can hear it in the mountains. So let's listen to this Shay run right now. And like you said, James, it sounded amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I notice you have also there, that's a British model, isn't it, of a steam turbine?
This is really cool. I couldn't wait. I put this on Decoder Pro today, and I found out that it wasn't dialed up as locomotive number 3. It was dialed up as 9983, which once I programmed that into the NCE system, sure enough, the sound jumped in there. And I'm also going to play this for you running. First, there's the startup, and I think it's got ESU loc sound in it. So the startup sound of the turbines kicking in is different from when you actually throttle up the locomotive and get it to move. The turbines even kick in with a higher amount of horsepower, like a jet engine, which is essentially what it was.
Yeah.
The whistle's interesting too. So now let me share with you the GT3 model from krmodels.net running on this layout.
That whistle almost sounds like Thomas the Tank Engine. I mean, I'm not going to lie, that's where I've heard that whistle before. And of course, it's a British prototype, so that would naturally be that sound. But
I also shot this model outside, so I want to share with you some outdoor photography of this model. I mixed some Bachmann European Thomas and Friends tank cars or passenger cars in the background, which worked out really well for this, as it's the only 2 European cars I have in the basement. But in full sunlight, the detail on this thing is gorgeous. The paintwork is beautiful. I mean, good job, Keith Revell. You've done so well with these models. Thank you for letting us share your wonderful models on the What's Neat show. And if you check out the website, krmodels.net, there's a lot of other beautiful models on the website. Diesels, steam engines, just amazing stuff, and new products are being designed every single month. So thank you very much. I can't wait to see what you send us next, brother. Nice work.
now I'll just say that I was also observing that locomotive running, and I really like what they did with the lighting on it. That the front lights, you'll notice that they have a very large headlight casing that's all painted white, and then at the very bottom are the LEDs. And from what I was able to observe, while I was in Germany, Poland, and in Europe, a lot of the locomotives do have that sort of format, and they have what look to me to be incandescent bulbs that just sort of screw into the headlight holding. So they're nowhere near as bright as our halogen bulbs that we use on our locomotives here. Perhaps because of greater population. I'm sure someone will correct me about what exactly they're using, because we definitely have viewers from that portion of the world, but they really nailed the look, in my opinion.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
What'd you bring tonight, James?
Well, I brought the Blue Goose back, and I brought the this is the 4089, the Santa Fe Spec 282 that Broadway Limited did about a year and a half ago. And the reason I brought them is because I knew Ken was going to bring this Shay and this steam turbine locomotive, and I know that we've talked about the new the 484s, the big boys, and the other locomotives from Athearn, and Bachmann. The stuff that they've been putting out has just improved incredibly over recent years, and so this is probably something that we don't really think about in the hobby that much, because we don't see steam running out in the world every day. We see these modern diesels, and everyone makes the modern diesels. But just the fact that I can take this Blue Goose, put it on the rails, expect it to run flawlessly the first time without trying to tune it, address shorting issues like you'd normally have to with a brass locomotive, or do any of these things, or have to put a new motor in it like another steam locomotive that I'm working on at home. It's really incredible just how far steam has come in recent years. I know there's this guy that writes a regular column for Model Railroad Hobbyist, and it's the Limited Modeler, and it's in the Running Extra edition. And he is constantly writing about these new steam products that he's running on his layout. And he says that, at first blush, steam is more expensive than diesel. I mean, yeah, you're talking about, $500 to $700 for a new locomotive versus $200 to $300 for a diesel. But you usually only have to run it with one steam locomotive to be prototypically accurate.
Yeah,
and you're running with several
right.
diesels. And so it's not really as big an economic question as one would really think. And so I think, we like to do those occasional discussions, in the comments section. I'd love to hear other people weigh in, on steam locomotives that have come out lately. I think the opportunities in this hobby are just great.
Absolutely. And I love double heading steams just like diesels.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Plus it ensures.
Pusher units,
Yeah. Well, I mean, there we cut into the advantage of using steam a little bit, but yeah, they definitely are eye catching. So the other stuff I have on the table today, I'll talk about the Ecto 1 here first. Halloween is coming up, and I've been wanting to make an Ecto 1 for the Magic House for some time. Especially so after seeing Sam Dennehy's model, at the
with all the lights,
at the
East Coast
RPM meet,
circuits.
with all the lights that East Coast Circuit put in there, and all of that.
Yeah.
Now he has not only Ecto 1, he has Ecto 1A from Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah.
He has the Ectomobile from Ghostbusters 2016. Movie, and then he has the new one from Ghostbusters Afterlife. All of them lit up, all of them modeled to the hilt from what you'd see in those movies. And so I decided I wanted to do my own. Now I wanted some differences from his. I wanted an open interior, so that you could look in and look at interior details, see through the glass. And so I found a model online of a '59 Cadillac Miller Meteor hearse or ambulance, and gave it a test print, and it printed okay on the Photon X. And so then I set about designing an interior, a roof rack, all these different details. I made them as separate parts so that you could paint them individually and sort of position them individually. And then just made this Ectomobile. Of course, there are some small parts, like the hoses, that are actually 30 AWG wires, because you don't mess with resin that thin. You just don't. It'll break on you and break your heart every time. And then these are Tichy brass CB antenna wires. So if you're wanting to add a CB antenna, just use Tichy brass, that you'd use for your grab irons. Yeah. And that'll get the effect. And of course, I used those Molotov pens, that Mike raves about, to give them the chrome look as opposed to the brass look. But then I also have, aside from the Ectomobile, so one more thing about the Ectomobile. So I've designed my own lighting circuit for it, sort of observing off the movie. And this is something I want to tell you all about, that if you go online to Tinkercad, you can not only design 3D graphics there, but you can also design circuits virtually, that you can set up an Arduino and a breadboard, plug in your LEDs virtually online without having to worry about the mess of taking it out or rearranging other projects that you have at home. And you can test your Arduino code and your circuitry and to see that to see that it all works, and I'll supply you with a little bit of
Nice.
flashy lights so that what I'm talking about right now isn't quite as boring. But yeah, so that's a neat thing I've been working on for the Ectomobile. I'm not sure how I'm going to get something upwards of 14 LEDs to fit onto that roof of that motor and still have the cab, clear so that you can look
Right.
through it and not have everything disrupted by all those wires.
Yeah.
How does
I'm sure
Neil
you'll
Maltz
figure
do it?
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's,
Of all people, you'll be the one to do it.
East Coast Circuits. I mean, they've
How do
done
they do it?
such a wonderful job with their fire trucks. So I just love tinkering and trying that stuff on my own. So I'll try that at some point myself. Now the other stuff I got a couple picnic tables here. These are designs I did up in Blender.
Wait a minute, I built those out of strip wood.
Yeah.
You 3D printed them?
I 3D printed them. How long did it take you to do one of those, Ken? Strip wood.
15
hour?
minutes.
Yeah.
Hour?
In an hour
This is in high school.
In an hour I can put out a dozen of these.
I still had 8-track tapes in my car back then.
I can.
Isn't that silicon?
Oh yeah. But so I also you may remember a few months back I did this barrel smoker. Mm-hmm. And Mike Buddy was like, "Well, why don't you open it up?"
Yeah.
So I opened it
Make
up.
some meat.
Wow.
so
nice.
Here you can see it has. We'll get a close up of these later on, but it has the grill work in there. I sort of dry brushed that a silver color just to highlight it a
Yeah.
bit. And
Is that Josh Barton in there with
Yeah.
into the grill?
Sugar
well,
fire.
tending the grill. Actually, that's not Josh Barton. That's my friend Eddie Belter, who owns another joint in town. That's Bootleg and Barbecue, and they have several locations. And so I was just painting that up, and I thought I'd make an HO scale Eddie Belter. So just shout out to him. But I thought, what's an open smoker without meats that you can put on there? So I have HO scale ribs. You can
3D printed ribs.
3D printed ribs,
right out of the Flintstones.
3D printed brisket,
And salmon, no doubt.
and yeah, have you tried the salmon?
Have you tried the salmon?
There's a little tiny salmon right here. So yeah,
And you got your 3D printer, and you're using a resin printer to do this, and it's
Yeah.
called the Anycubic
It's a Photon X.
X printer
though I gotta say,
from
it's from GNL Robotics, but the,
USA.com. This is important to get out there. GNL Robotics, USA.com. Greg Summerland, customer service, helps you set up your machine when you get it. If you got any questions, you don't know what resins to get or anything like that, he's there to answer your questions on the phone. Try doing that when you buy something on Amazon, right?
What's with the wheels and axles? What are those?
So the wheels and axles. This is basically the Ectomobile disassembled. So, yeah, Dave Davis was asking the wheels and axles just in case our microphones didn't pick that up. But yeah, I designed the roof rack here. All of these I actually designed as individual parts. Some of them I lumped together for the printing process. Others I did not, like these police light bars, just for ease of painting and ease of installation. So, like I said, this was the mesh as I got it from the internet, but I modified it to add these original 50s ambulance flashers, the spotlight, which are part of that original mesh. I added a louver to the back window, and then everything on the roof rack. And the parts that you might want to pose individually or paint individually, or that might just be a paint print to
Right.
print as one group, I went ahead and separated out. So
Nice work.
yeah.
How far are you on the rocket? I want to see the rocket that you're making for your daughter. With
Yeah.
all the internal detail, everything prints out at the same time, all the
Well,
tanks.
Yeah.
So
Pretty amazing.
So, yeah, it's very loosely, like it's very loosely based off of Saturn V. Was kind of what I was wanting to make, and that's what she was wanting, and so I think I have to I think I got it to the point where I have everything, the three main stages, and then the service module, and then the command module. But I don't have the LEM quite designed for it yet. I got to do that design, and I have to put some detailing onto them so that there's a little bit of Aztecing or tooth to the surface of those models. Because they weren't just completely smooth, and I'd like to have it a little bit more detailed. I realize that Annalisa probably doesn't care that much about the details of it. She just wants a rocket, but
Right.
You better get it done.
yeah, well,
If you're going to do it right.
Better get it done.
Yeah.
I want to see it because that looks cool.
It's in the works.
All right, so Spring Creek model trains out of Desler, Nebraska. All the products that you've seen on this episode of What's Neat are available from Spring Creek. It's getting to be Christmas time. They've got a special deal now for the viewers of the show, whereas if you don't know what to buy that modeler in your life, Spring Creek offers gift certificates, so that gift cards, so that you can simply put the gift card in a stocking or actually wrap it in a great big box.
Well, and I'll also mention that Spring Creek is the kind of a place where if you really missed the boat on like a pre-order model,
Yeah.
Right.
and it's out the door, it's gone, you can't find it anywhere, they are one of the most likely sources to have that model that's 3 or
Right.
4 years ago that no one has anymore.
In order to buy a gift certificate, you've got to call the store directly. This is not something you can pick up online. I put the phone number here on the bottom of the screen of Spring Creek Model Trains. Dave, Deb, Jeff, or Mike Zucker are there to take your orders. Write the name of the individual on the gift certificate or however that works, so that you don't have to worry about which Athearn locomotive or what detail or models apply to get them. They can get it themselves, but they'll still love you just as much. And I think that's a great way to go about it, because there's so many moms and pops and grandmothers and nephews and folks that realize we like trains, but they don't necessarily know what to get us. I will never forget the one relative that bought me the 8 building set of plastic-filled buildings. I mean, I loved them. I did. But, I was building craftsman structures at the time. So it didn't quite fit the itinerary of my model railroad, but I did build a modular layout with it, which worked out great. So I wanted to bring that up with regards to Spring Creek Model Trains, because I talked to Mike this week, and he said, talk about the gift certificate program that we have.
Oh, yeah, and you can probably use those gift certificates when they come to your local train show, so that you can actually go and choose what you want, look at it in person, pick it out in person, and, do that.
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
So we got Dave Davis tonight, who told us he wants to run some trains.
Yes,
He
I
said
do.
that.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, he does.
And brought some.
So I'm going to give him the NCE Pro Cab so that you can run trains with this, Dave. It's very easy to use, as you've used it last week and the week before. So with that, gentlemen, this is show number 213. Have we covered everything for tonight? Because we are at our time limit.
Oh, there was one thing I was supposed to mention for a buddy for about a month now, and that is Alvin Gilbert. He's out in
Yeah.
Salt Lake City, and he's been talking about this. This Grant Tower. There's this parkland that's right next to a Union Pacific yard in Salt Lake City, and he's wanting to lobby the city to put up a train observation deck as part of their plans for reformatting this industrial land into a park space for the city. So I just wanted to put a plug in there. He has a Facebook group, so look for the Grant View Tower on Facebook.
I think I saw that. I didn't really know what it was, but
Yeah.
I did see it.
Yeah.
Check it out.
This is the last show for this month for us to do. Next week, I've got to get the December What's Neat out. Presently, the October What's Neat is running right now, which if you watch that show, you can see the Anna Murray National that we had here in St. Louis. I think we've got 3 layouts in there, including the Lego layout, which people love, and 7 interviews with different manufacturers. So that's something to check out at Model Railroad Hobbyist Magazine's YouTube site. The What's Neat show for October 2020. I think it's up to 15,000 views. And the RPM show was a show that ran before that. It's past 22,000 views. So we're getting a lot of great numbers on that and on the podcast. Plus, we just broke 15,100 subscribers on this show, on the What's Neat show. A simple model railroad show. made by simple people like us, model railroaders, just for you, to share with you what's new in the hobby every single week, because things are always changing and things are always awesome in this, the very best hobby in the world. And so with that, gentlemen, let's go run some trains. Thumbnail shot, keep camera one rolling. And I've got to sneeze.
Jim, I just need you to come over here.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
All right, so what are we doing for thumbnail tonight? Guessing I'm gonna hold up this Shay because it's so pretty. I love it. I know, right? Brown locomotive's easy to see.
3 trick things.
Okay, ready, set. What are you holding up?
And
Smile,
and
wave.
There you go.
There
Let's
we
show
go.
some teeth as we're rolling credits. Ready, set, and and we got that. Keep camera one rolling as I start to roll credits. And I think we've got it. Let me turn off sound and I'll kill camera 2. God, I've been wanting to sneeze for like 15 minutes. It was crazy.
So shut this off.
No, keep camera one going.
Oh, bye.
No, you.